Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be doing another Lucid Monday bounce SoundCloud producer type beat. Just another tutorial, a different style, and I'm gonna play the beat, and then we'll break it down right after.
Like a faucet, I look like a fountain. Can't test it like Austin, and we golfing. Can't take no more losses, and we steady.
So that's the whole beat. So this is a type of style similar to, if you're ever in the SoundCloud producer community, there isn't really a genre attached to the sound yet, but I think most people would just call it bounce music, sort of just like trap. Similar artists to this, I think, would be, if you know Keith, this is a pretty similar sound to his. Really any Lucid Monday artist. Good Society, another label that has producers that make similar music to this. So yeah, I'm just gonna get into the main part of the song that plays throughout, which is this arpeggio. Basically, it's basically just this pluck sound like usual. Most drops with these type of beats always have some sort of like future sort of arpeggiated of some sort pluck. And I have it where I'm automating the decay of this pluck. So there's some times where it's like the pluck is super tight, and then it rises, and then it goes up and down, sort of, to make it more interesting. So I'm just gonna show what that sounds like. It's fairly subtle when it plays, but I think it gets that job done, and I think it just adds a little bit more to that bounce. So if you don't know how to do that, all you have to do is you just gotta wiggle this knob a little bit, this decay knob right here, and you go to this drop down arrow right here, browse parameters, envelope 1 decay. If you're in Serum, I'm just talking about specifically in Serum, but this could work in any synth plugin that you have, and then just create automation clip. Should pop up here, and then you could do whatever you want with that. I'm sure most people already know how to do that. But this is a pluck that I borrowed from a friend producer of mine for his Serum kit. Once that serum kit drops, I will put it in the description, but I don't know if it's out yet. But I definitely will put it in the description once, later, once it drops. So yeah, so here's what it just plain what it normally sounds like. Obviously, just fairly simple. To add the bounce, I time shifted it quite a bit. Pretty important. I added, this is kind of later on, but added some reverb. Obviously side chained it to the kick, and yeah, that's just more that's just for this little outro section where I automate it. Yeah, so that's the main part. Fairly simple, just plays throughout the whole entire beat. Gets the job done. So I'm gonna talk about what I have on the master. So I have a Fruity Free filter. Turn up this frequency knob all the way. Kind of let some of that high end punch through. Soft clipper just set on default. Wave shaper just a little, didn't really do too much to it, just give it a little bit of a distorted sort of sound. And then I just kept the limiter on there. And then as for the kick, for the kick, I need to find that. So here, here's it really depends on what your kick is like initially, but I think the best sort of kick for this type of genre is a kick that perfectly sits in between a really low sort of punchy bassy kick and then a sort of like punchy kick in a way that it's sort of like a clap, like a more higher pitch kick and versus a lower pitch kick. These type of kicks are sort of rest somewhere in between. Also with this genre too, you do want to, so this is sort of what I did for my EQ, if you want to look at that. It's not going to sound exactly the same, for every kick that you use, but this is what it sounds like. So yeah, it's sort of like in between punchy and snappy. Of course, this is what it sounds like sidechained with the bass sounds and the 808s. Yeah, so here, this is the 808 that I used. Added a sausage fattener. I did add some space to this 808. It's not necessarily reverb, it's sort of like this chorus effect, really. Here I did sidechain it. When you do sidechain, you could look at all these parameters. You do want to keep the release fairly quick. That's going to make it, sound a lot better. You don't want the release to be, super long. And then 808, just boosted the low end. And, yeah, So we got the kick, the main melody, and the 808. Now I'll get into, so melodically there isn't really that much going on, right? You got this playing. It really all comes down to the effects, transitions, because if I didn't have any of those, this would sound pretty bare, pretty boring. So I do have a second melody that comes in, which I will play right now. So I don't think there's really anything on that. Obviously, just sidechain to the kick. You do want to, if you want to have make a track like this with the same type of sounds going throughout the entire track, you do probably want a counter melody at some point. So I did have that about here because I didn't want to make it stale. So that's melodically, that's pretty much it. I will get into the 808 pattern. I'll play it. Obviously, like, this just repeats for the most part. I do have a second 808 pattern. I think having at least 2 different 808 patterns in these type of tracks is probably, your best bet. You don't want to have the same 808 pattern playing throughout the entire track. Basically, all the second 808 pattern is the same notes, just with more slides. That's literally all it is. I basically just have the 808 hits. I just have the 808 hitting when the kick hits. But I do have the second bass sound right here. So basically, you want to use several different bass sounds. So you can have the certain bass sound hit at this part, and then at a certain section you have the 808s playing, and then you're about to transition into another part, and you do this cool sort of like transition with this third bass sound, and it's like, whoa, where did that come from? So that's what you want to do. I basically have this, it just goes up an octave, down an octave. I basically have that hitting at the beginning of basically every bar. And then shortly after that into the next kick, that's when the 808 hits. So just use a variety of different sounds, not only within your melody, but within your low end too, your bass. That's what kind of sets it apart from different genres. It's really all about that variation. And then we have, I'm just gonna get into the general all the different percussive and drum sounds. So minus the main melody and the 808s, this is what really everything else sounds like. Now, when it comes to the timing of your drums, the kick and the clap do not need to be delayed. Or you could go about this 2 ways. You could either delay the drums and keep the main melody on the grid, or you could delay the main melody and keep the drums on the grid. What I usually do most of the time is I delay the main melody and keep the main drums on the grid. The reason why you don't delay both the drums and the melody is because it's not gonna change anything. If you're moving both the melody and the drums, it's just not, there's not that that difference to create that bounce. You're just moving the whole beat off the grid. But what you do want to delay is percussive sounds and snares, transitions, hi-hats. Basically everything you mostly want to delay except for the drums and the 808s. But everything else you delay for the most part. So I have this chant playing right here. Nothing really on it, just some space. Hey! 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 It plays throughout the entire track. You can use any chant you want. I did get this from a sample pack. And then this effect sound. Hey! 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 Basically what I did is I just chopped this FX. I feel like this is this rhythm right here is a common rhythm that I hear within that sort of sound, sort of that genre. And then I just shifted it, obviously, because you want it to be a little bit off the grid. And then some open hats that play. And then I just moved that, left it here, and moved that off the grid. Also, really good pointer. Pan different sounds, like percussive sounds and snares and everything else like that. Pan some sounds a little bit to the left, some to the right. So here's a little example of that. So these are the snares that play. See that? I think this is panned to the left a little bit, and then this isn't panned, but most of this genre I hear snares are sort of used as a percussive element, and it's panned most of the time in either to the left or the right. And then I have some FX sounds. I think you want this you want it to make sense, right? Put in FX sounds that have similar rhythms to it, because it's not going to sound cohesive if you just put in random sounds at random times. Even if you do put it somewhere that's placed somewhere that makes sense and rhythmically it fits with the track, it still might not sound that good if it doesn't blend in with all the other FX sounds that you're using. So everything sort of has, like, every FX sound or perk sound that you're using sort of has the same rhythm or I guess cadence to it. So see how that sort of like all fits together? That's what I basically mean. And then drum fills, of course. Basically, you want to do this somewhere at the end of each bar. Add random transitions, sweeps, and then delay is pretty good if you're using something that sounds sort of dry. Adding delay on FX I hear that a lot in this genre. And then here, this is sort of like an ambient sound in the background. I added some kickstart, a little bit of space to it, a flanger, and I sidechained it to the kick as well. Just adds a little bit more, fills up some of that space in the mix. And then I did add a second ambient sound right here. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. And then added some more FX sounds right here. For the most part, most of my FX sounds are pretty much the same, but in some areas I did like to switch it up a little bit, like here. I'd say I'd recommend, I don't know, I think I got a little bit lazy with the FX sounds on here. It's kind of repetitive at some points. You really want to like put your time into making every once in a while, you want to make every section of the song something new. Rather that may be a new FX sound, a new way to transition into the next bar. But yeah, and then we get into the last part here. So I showed you the basics of everything. This last part, it's basically just I simplified the track and then added this this acapella right here at the end.
They fresh out of coffin, don't know why they talking. Got power like Austin, they keep with it down. He rapping exhausting, that hope she gon' cross him. They wet like a faucet, I look like a fountain. Can't test it like Austin, and we golfing. Can't take no more losses and be steady.
So I used this last part as sort of a Vox loop. Doesn't really have to be treated as a remix. And then after that, it just leaves a little open section with none of the instruments playing, or the drums playing, and it's just the melody. And then just the melody playing at the end. I do a reverb sweep, and then a final FX sound. And then that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you guys in the next tutorial. I don't know when that will be, but yeah, I'll link some stuff down into the description, and I'll see you guys in the next one.